right? Oh, the
Hey,
music's still going in my ears. There we go.
is the music gone?
Yes, it's gone. We're free. Oh, Corey, you want to introduce the show? I feel like I steal that spotlight every time.
Oh, sure. And maybe it's just because I feel like I spent so much time on other shows being the person who said the name of the show. I wanted to gift that
Oh,
to my new co-host.
see, I do
So
that
like
too.
yeah, I was always the guy who would, introduce the Fang stuff. But no, I'll do it this time. Welcome, folks. Welcome to the Digipod Pokécast show. This is the show where myself and Milk Surface discuss the various intersections and differences of two beloved franchises, Digimon and Pokemon. And today we have a fantastic theme for the show. It's our first like really truly prepared kind of plan for an
Yeah,
episode, I think, right?
we did prep.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of prep. So, because the last episode we did, we had a fun time playing a little game
Yes.
where we uh, tried to trick the other person into thinking that a Pokemon or a Digimon was real
Yeah.
when it was not, in fact, real.
Two games, in
Um,
fact, since we
we did
thought.
we did two exactly. Yes, two very wildly different formats, but we made it work. And that just kind of sparked the idea, I believe, for you. You should take credit for this.
Yeah.
You suggested that the next time around we actually make up some of these and develop them together, and then we're going to do kind of a crossover with another show that you're involved with, Sketchy Friends, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that what this is for? I wasn't sure if it was another one of the various art streaming shows, but no, we're going to do like a tie-in with Sketchy Friends where we're then going to draw these on, in the future. This is not tonight. For this time around, we're just going to develop these
Yeah. Stretch
fascinating
this
monsters
idea out as
together.
much as possible.
Yeah, really flesh it out. Really just burn that clock. Let's just fill this time. And I'm genuinely excited with what we might come up with. I tried my best to think about any um, hypothetical Pokemon, came up with a complete blank. It is very hard to do.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do. I have so much respect for anyone who does this. Not even professionally. I was about to say I have so much respect for the people who like create this and like do this as their job. I have an equal amount of respect, almost maybe, with just fans who, because I recently through this show found out that that's a whole subset of the fandom is people who make fanfic for their original Pokemon and Digimon characters.
Yeah.
I think that's great because it's very difficult. I was able to come up with a few Digimon
Okay.
that are admittedly very stupid because I felt like it was a safer route to go with Digimon that are stupid because that is so much of Digimon.
Yeah.
Our Digimon designs and names where you're just like, come on, why really?
I feel like that's
I
where more of
love
the
this to death, but
creativity is too.
yes, it's because they'll be creative with the execution
Hmm.
of the bad idea. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's very impressive to me
Yeah.
when they do that. So, and that's why I'm excited to see what we can maybe come up with these dumb ideas when we get this, pen to paper on Sketchy Friends.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see some of these come to life. Um, I feel like I've been jabbing a lot, so I'm going to throw it over to you. Before we even get into this, how have you been, Milk?
Oh, I've been good. Just taking in all the new video game news. I'm not much of a gamer, but
So much. Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom comes out, so I'm stoked about that. And then more related to our show, a new monster game came out, Peridot. It's made by Niantic, the makers of Pokemon Go. You get a effed up little baby dude called a Dot, and it progressively like mutates and gets bigger, and they have DNA, so there's like different features, and each like category of feature has odds of getting a different one. And then apparently you can reach out to local people you find that also have a dot and like request to breed with them if your dots are old enough. So I'm like, oh, I like the features your dot has, and like I actually have to like send a written message like, dear
That's
neighbor,
cool.
can we breed our fake little pets?
That's fantastic. Because it's
Yeah,
also, on the surface, that sounds like a strange, you know, hobby, I guess, to
yeah,
have. Or more specifically, that's a strange thing to ask of another person, possibly even a stranger. But it's really not that strange when you think about if that person has that game, that's what they
exactly.
signed up for.
They have
That's,
they have the
yeah.
game, they check their messages, they are aware that that's like a mechanic, and they probably are excited about it, and then you like get to talk to someone has some weird interests similar to yourself.
Yeah.
um so yeah, I think it's a cool game. I just got it last night. I think it's only been out for like a week or so, out of beta, so check it out. It's called Peridot.
What's
And
the
let me know.
style of like what's it look like? Because I
So
really haven't seen anything about this.
it's mostly AR, so like the whole game is always through your camera, and then the
Okay.
style of the creatures is very like rounded quadrupeds mostly, and they get pretty abstract because like coloring can be anything. So they look more like imaginary creatures rather than trying to base them in reality. I am
Sure.
getting a lot of vibes of like Chow Gardens from Sonic Adventure 2, if you're familiar.
I'm not.
Yeah, so
I am like embarrassingly ignorant when it comes to Sonic.
I mean
Um,
that's
yeah.
probably a good thing to be honest. But yeah, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the look. And I've always had this like monster designing game in the background of my mind, and there's some elements of that in here, which it's like, oh, some of the like my lifelong ideas are actually in here, but it's something I don't like the looks. But we'll see. Maybe I'll grow more accustomed to it. So far, my own dot and one other person's dot are the only ones I've seen that like look good. And I lucked out that mine looks good because at the beginning you just get 3 eggs, and I like that the creative difference they turn to eggs. What's typical egg shape, except it's upside down, so you know it's magical.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. But Corey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I've had an active week. I've been hitting the gym more.
Ooh.
That's been good.
Yeah.
It is and it isn't because it's like it sucks that that's now something that just has to be part of my life if I'm going to be a healthy person. I've been able to put it off for as long as I have, but now that I'm getting older, I actually kind of have
Yeah.
to maintain any kind of energy throughout my day. But that's been the nice thing is I've had more energy through my day, so that's been cool. So yeah, not a whole bunch. I've been writing a little more. That's been good. I'm doing a show next month that I'm
Oh.
I'm trying to work new material out for, which is also not fun.
Is
Like
this something you can
it,
promo right now, like date and time?
oh, actually, there is. Yeah, I forget the exact date. It's in June. It's at Sat Comedy Spot. It's the Queer Medians showcase. Um, it's their showcase for queer comics at Sat Comedy Spot. Um, yeah, I forget the exact date, but it's in June. If you want to just look up Sat Comedy Spot, it's on there. Um, and yeah, so I've been just getting out more to do the comedy stuff, um, and yeah, just being a person takes
Well,
up most of my time.
yeah.
Just being a person,
Being a
you know.
person's a good thing to strive for, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
um, but so just since there is a crossover of how we're doing, have you gamified your walking and exercising by getting
Yeah.
Pokemon Go or
Oh no,
Peridot? No.
I have not. I might be a little tempted with this new Peridot thing just because
Yeah.
it's new. I like to check something new out.
Yeah.
I will say I wasn't really big into Pokemon Go past that like one week that the world was unified with it. That was
It was
delightful. I
so
liked that.
magical. We
That
should
was
we should
very
do
that
an
was really
episode
nice.
just about that sometimes because there's a lot
We
to
really
unpack
could.
about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was nice. That was a good time. I
Yeah.
liked that a lot. Um, but beyond that, I couldn't really stick with it. It just didn't hook me. It wasn't very fun beyond that. Um, but my wife and I have been gaming our activity because we downloaded Google Fit on our phones.
Oh, okay.
So it just tracks like steps and you get like heart points and stuff. We're not so invested that we want to get like the wrist thing to like, you know, integrate the information.
Yeah. Get
But
every single
it's
stat.
exactly because we don't care that much, but it helps to have some kind of thing we can point to of like, oh, we hit our step goal for the day, and then we raise that step goal, like that kind of stuff. So it's been fun just getting out because we live in a nice neighborhood that we never really took advantage of until like literally just a couple months ago, maybe started like walking around our neighborhood, and yeah, there's ducks and stuff. There's stuff to see. It's great. We got egrets. Yeah, yeah, we got
You
egrets.
sound like you're in a magical part of town.
Pocket is magical.
Uh, for me, like I go for walks and I've got Circle K and Bank of America. So
I loved Circle K. When I was like addicted to gas station food, Circle K was my jam. Circle K has the best hot dogs. Just saying it right here. Circle K has the best hot
I might
dogs in
have
the
to
business.
try these.
Oh,
These
yeah.
magical Circle K hot dogs. I
Or at
did
least
see.
they were when I was in my early 20s and going to Circle K a lot. Because I used to live um, on, if you're familiar with like Midtown, like across the street from Harlow's. I had an apartment there, and pretty much around the corner, there's a Circle K at like a Shell station. And I was probably like 21, 22, constantly there for mostly just the spicy hot dogs. Love me a spicy dog.
I
But
do
we're
love
not here to
spicy
talk
dogs.
about spicy dogs
No.
unless one of your Pokemon is a spicy dog, which would be pretty cool.
So I like how you said one of. You give me too much credit. I really well, okay. So I mainly
Well,
come
you probably did more of the work than I did. I was able to come up with several examples because I put no effort in any of them.
but and no discredit to Digimon, but I feel like the concept area of Pokemon is a lot more labor intensive than Digimon.
Oh yeah.
If only because all of them need it. Whereas Digimon, like some get more love than others when it comes to concept. But I mean, that's not a bad thing because we've discussed how like some of the rule breaking and just chaos of how Digimon are created is a huge like virtue to the
Mhm.
franchise. Towards
Absolutely.
Pokemon, the virtue is everything's like synergized together. And a lot of that comes from shoehorning in synergy from the old things to their now
Yeah.
established rules. Um, okay, so uh, when I was thinking of like, okay, let's come up with a Pokemon design, I was thinking of doing something I thought would be like my dream Pokemon, and I was like, no,
Mhm.
let's save that as a personal
Yeah.
project. But I wanted something clever, so I kind of like browsed through some stuff, and then I came across the Fig Wasp. And I thought that could make for a really interesting Pokemon because the Fig Wasp is not a singular species of wasp. There's like the it's believed that there are more Fig Wasp species than there are birds, which is
Yeah.
insane.
That's an insane statement to make
Yes.
about anything.
And through this research, I came across a lot of insane statements. So every species of fig has a fig wasp, also. So it's like, okay, the cool, lots of different directions. I started
Yeah.
researching, and I got to so many interesting things that I just really started focusing on the fig. I haven't really done much more research on the fig wasp outside of its relationship to the fig, which probably isn't much. I'd probably incorporate more generic wasp things outside of the fig wasp too. But my thought is, altogether, this would be a cool dual Pokemon. What one
That's
that's
exactly
based
what
off
I
the
was thinking.
Fig, one
Yeah.
based off the Wasp, and maybe they result in a new Pokemon, or maybe
Hmm.
they just have this like connection to each other. But that's something down the road. I'm just focusing on the fig right now. And so I did research for about 3 hours today once I like really had my idea. And by 3 hours, I mean I left the computer multiple times to go get cookies and talk with my roommate. So it wasn't like 3 solid hours. Just within three
Just
hours,
collectively.
yeah,
You saw the clock at the beginning and the end, it was 3 hours.
yeah. I wouldn't even say I finished all the YouTube videos I pulled up. Um, but here's my research, and folks listening, help us workshop these, or at least I'll say that for me. I've got the loose ideas. Love to hear input. So I wrote things down because my notes comprise of both the natural elements of the fig and symbolic elements of the fig. So the natural things are, or no, I'm going to start with the symbolic because I think it transitions better. So a lot of people are familiar with, I think, the Christianity lore of the fig. Jesus cursed a fig tree, and a lot of people are like, well, why a fig? Um, so fig tree in that sense was a symbol of the nations. You couldn't put an olive branch on the altar to burn. You'd have to use a fig. So a lot of like poor people would offer a fig branch to burn at the altar as tribute. So there's this very like humbling sense of the fig, as well as a grander sense that represents the nations in that biblical sense. In another culture in Greece, it was highly valued. It was like an honored gift to give someone a fig branch. So it's very interesting that there's this dichotomy of like poor person humbleness versus honored and rich. And oftentimes when something has cultural significance from one culture to another, you'll see that. But it's strange how in individual cultures they'll have both of those. And one of the reasons being is the fig actually has two seasons. There's the poor season and the rich season. So around spring, the fig makes small, less sweet figs. And then in the fall to early winter, it makes big, sweet figs. And so those have their own kind of meaning. And so it was a small fig that Jesus cursed, and then the big figs are claimed to be the sweetest fruit on earth. So sometimes in Pokemon, there are Pokemon that are the same species but can be different. So Punkaboo, a little pumpkin, can come in one of four sizes, and that's its only difference. And like now in Pokemon games, Pokemon range in various sizes, and they haven't brought Punkaboo in since this happened, so it'll probably just have a wider range. But there's that. Some Pokemon can come in different colors. Most of the time, a Pokemon is one stat color, and then there's a shiny, which is a special. But some have normal ones that come in different colors. Some Pokemon can come in different attributes based off their location. There's a sea slug that looks different in west and east. And the reason I bring all that up is I would think it'd be interesting if this Pokemon you encounter looks different based off of when you catch it. So it wouldn't transform. It doesn't like go from one to the other, but the time of season when they're out and they're like new and babies or like an egg is hatched, you get either this poor small one or like rich sweet one, mostly looking similar, one bigger, but like certain attributes. Now that's how some of the like spiritualism part leads into some of the like natural aspects of it. And then another thing is figs have really big leaves. Back to the biblical sense, it was believed that a fig leaf was what Adam and Eve covered themselves with. I guess in the Jewish like colloquialism in Hebrew, I believe, I could be wrong on exactly what like language and culture has adopted this, but I was reading that a fig leaf is synonymous for excuses because of that like biblical shame covering. So I was thinking this Pokemon could really embrace that because figs are unusual that it's not a fruit actually. It's called a fruit, but it's not. The fig is a casing and it's flowers inside, which is crazy because flowers should be on the outside. That's why it can't pollinate. It needs a wasp to crawl inside it and die. Okay, so to sum all this up, figs, rich or poor, but the leaves can be used as covered, shame, excuses. Pokemon has a dark type. I think these leaves, which are really big, could like use to cover itself for like dark type kind of thing. Pokemon has introduced something called convergent evolution, where a Pokemon will look like an old Pokemon but be completely different, like a mushroom and a octopus, or a mushroom and a jellyfish. They look similar silhouettes, but they're different. So in Pokemon, there's a Pokemon called Sableye. It eats gemstones. It lives in a cave, and eventually it mega evolves. I know I'm throwing a lot of concepts at you, but this mega evolution hides. Yeah, a mega evolution hides behind a giant rock. I have a little toy of it, but instead of the giant rock, it's a paint bottle. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this Pokemon is like the fig branch, and it has these big leaves and it hides, but then it can get a big fig, and that fig can be a small, poor, or big, rich one, and it hides behind that. And then that way, say there's an evolution with a wasp, it takes the fig item away from this Pokemon. So, there's a lot of branching ideas. I think it mostly stems from this like duality of big and small based off the season, and then something with hiding and shame maybe, but in a way that kind of separates the two while tying them together, but not entirely. So yeah, that's the mess of ideas I have.
That was involved.
Yes.
I loved all of that, though. That is such a great concept, because a fig is so unusual.
Yeah.
It really is. I've always been a little creeped out by figs, personally. A cross section of a fig, like because they like to put it on fancy things, to make something fancy. Oh, is that just like a regular pizza? Let's put some figs on it. We'll make it a fancy pizza. And I've always found them to be kind of creepy looking.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the seeds. Are those seeds inside? I don't know.
So they are seeds, but the other stuff you're seeing, unlike pulp of a fruit, it is flowers. The rest is flowers and acid, and that acid dissolves wasps.
Wild. It's just so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts for a name for this little critter?
No, the name would really have to come after the fact. I think based off like the dominant features and typing. So it's hard because like dark type I think is a given, it seems, but then also plant type or grass type because it's a plant. But you could do poison type because of the acid inside the fig that burns it. Although if I go with this idea that's holding a fig and not the fig fruit but the fig tree, then it would just learn poison moves and not that. And that's something Pokemon does a lot, is sometimes a Pokemon will be two types, but its moves represent a type it's not listed because that's like the nature of it. So yeah, it's a lot. I got to workshop a bit more, but I really like this idea of like holding the fig the more I think about it, and then that fig being passed off to the wasp, and then it evolving into some like poison. So here's the idea: like plant or grass and dark type is the fig tree Pokemon, and then like bug something for the wasp, and then they come together and they result in a new Pokemon that is the like fertile fig, and that would be like poison something. So it gets or it doesn't have the typings from either of the original Pokemon maybe, because the wasp is no longer there, it's dissolved. And yes, it's a plant, but like there would be a way to get around the plant. I don't know, that lots of directions, but that's generally where I'm going with it. But yeah, leaning more to the fig tree part of it all. I'm definitely seeing like creepy grass, these big three-pronged leaves, because their leaves kind of look like gecko toes. They're like thin and then bulge out. So I'm seeing those with claws. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff I think I can do with that.
What got you thinking about figs?
Um, I don't remember if I thought about figs and then saw the like video on fig. I really don't know what got me onto it. I
I ask because it's not the most common fruit,
no, it's
or what have you. Um,
I know I was
comes
thinking
up very
about
often.
figs a couple weeks ago because we were talking about best candle scents with like me and some friends, and Yankee made a candle that was black plum and fig, and that's my favorite candle
Mm,
scent. Got for my mom one year. Haven't ever seen it since.
do
um,
like a plum.
yeah.
Plum is nice.
So do you like figs? Have you ever? I know you said they scare you, but after
Yeah,
that, in your mouth, how are they?
I think they're fine. I think I enjoy fig Newtons more than figs themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I've never felt like they really elevated a dish as much as people seem to think they do.
yeah.
But
I can't remember the last time I had anything fig besides like a Newton. I've had fig flavor things, but like a real fig on something, I don't know.
yeah,
I'll have to try it with pizza. Maybe that'll inspire me more for this Pokemon design.
yeah, I
Um,
had it. Yeah, I forget what else was. It might have been like fig and broccoli or something. It was some weird
ugh.
fancy ass pizza that was fine. It was fine. You know, I think it had honey.
Okay.
That's a pretty common pairing with like the fig and honey.
Uh, last
You want to hear some? Oh, sorry. Go on.
last thing I'm gonna throw on to all of this
Yes,
is
please.
that so Pokemon nowadays, each Pokemon design is like a huge mess of different ideas coming together. No, not a huge mess, but like multiple things. And so,
Hmm.
granted, I'm pulling from like the fig and the wasp, but I feel like that's still just one thing. And even with the biblical or like Greek inspiration, it's still just one thing. And so, in more Pokemon fashion, I'd probably have to do some research of the different places figs exist, which is all over the world, but different figs. And if I'm going with this like biblical sense of like the shame, I would probably want to do something more like Israel located as far as different figs go and pull from that. But I bring all this up because when Pokemon are designed, they're designed for a region now, and that region is based off a real world place. And then they'll usually take some type of other thing from that region and mix it with a ecological thing of like an animal or plant.
Hmm.
I mean, this can be as like loose as the giraffe Pokemon, Girafarig, is now has an evolution in the newest games, which are based off the Iberia Peninsula, which is where the modern idea of a spacesuit was designed. And so this Pokemon used to have two heads on either end. It was one head and then the body and a tail, and the tail had a head. It was like a palindrome Pokemon,
Yeah,
Girafarig.
yeah.
So it
I
evolves
remember.
into Rigoraph, another palindrome, just kind of flipping them. And the thing is that second head now consumes the other head and looks like a space helmet. So it's like the idea of spacesuits being designed in that area of the world influence the physical look of
Yeah,
this, even though it's not space theme. It doesn't have that. It's just
yeah.
design
You want to
elements,
find something like that.
yeah, not necessarily to influence the concept, but maybe just the visual design. What can I make this creature that's holding the fig look like? Because yes, of course, it's going to be branches and leaves, but how can I stylize it in some way? Maybe one of the figs, that top part has a crown. What kind of part of the world should I design this crown after because of the fig's cultural relevance? Stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's an interesting way to also just make the design more unique
Yeah, yeah.
because that's going to make it pop. Just have something so strikingly different. Yeah. Do you want to hear some very dumb Digimon
Yes,
ideas?
I'm so ready to go
Okay.
to the shift.
Now, now, because these are so dumb and they're so bare bones, this is really open for discussion for how we can make these palatable. Because I want to see these made so like if anything needs to be changed, we're gonna change them because we're gonna make this work. All right. So first one, right out the gate, Janitormon. He's a janitor. I'm thinking that it's designed like, those like mop buckets that have wheels, like a
Yes.
wheelie kind of mop bucket. So maybe he's in one of those, or maybe he is one of those, and like his body kind of continues past the bucket.
Like a
Um,
bucket centaur. Is this what
like a
you're
bucket
pitching?
centaur.
Okay.
Yes, that's kind of what I was picturing. And I was also thinking, um, if he moves around not by like just the force of his presence, he can move the wheels. He actually has to like row himself with the mop around in the bucket. And one of his special moves I was thinking would be to throw his millions of keys, because janitors always have lots of keys. So I
Yes.
was thinking it's basically a gun for keys, except he doesn't have a gun. He just throws them. So
Um, I
there's
like
Janitormon.
I like the idea of, rather than a gun, even though
Yeah,
Digimon
not a
really
gun.
loves guns, a chainsaw, and it's the keys. It's like him spinning the key
Yes.
ring, and it's a chainsaw of
Oh,
keys.
I like that too. I could see him just having a lot of different weapons that are all just
Yes.
different types of keys. That's
Um,
like all he has at his disposal.
I like the idea that his hands are gloved. You know, um, a little silliness, like maybe like nice white gloves rather than the like actual janitory gloves, just to like kind of play on it.
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Another idea that came to mind from this is, you know how some Digimon have like pseudo Digimon, like Kiwimon has the little kiwis it makes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe like little pseudo Digimon that are little Roomba that he can like shoot out or something, or
Ooh,
that like hover or like follow around him.
yeah. I was thinking something similar to that, like have I don't know if it's that much similar, but trying to think of some way to I guess I was just like throwing it out in the same way as like a Roomba, but um how there's the cliche of janitors at like a school, if a kid throws up, they'll throw like the sawdust on the ground,
Yeah, yeah.
like onto the thing to then clean it up. Like if there was some way to incorporate puke and sawdust into this Digimon, I think
So
that would be very great.
I think rather than incorporating that into the design, you would do that with world building. So like this
Yes.
is a powerful Digimon, like ultimate,
Hmm.
and when they like stumble upon it or whatever, it's surrounded by that like little tree trunk Digimon, as well as the like just various trash Digimon like
Yeah.
Sukamon and Nunamon. Not trash, but like bile.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah,
Gross
gross
Digimon.
Digimon.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's like you see these gross Digimon and this tree, and you're like, why is that tree there? And then you put it together, like, oh, the sawdust for that. Takes like a little bit of thinking. That's a thought.
I like that. I
Or
like
he could just shoot out like a wave of sawdust like it's glitter.
that. Yes. He's very fabulous.
Yes.
I like that though. See what are other janitor um factors, like features of a janitor that you got.
I definitely see the like caution wet floor sign
Mm,
incorporated in armor, because I feel like it'd be more entertaining if this Digimon looks kind of like royal, like it armored, rather
yeah.
than organic.
Well, I think you just nailed it right there. His armor should be one of like the caution wet floor,
Yeah.
like sandwich board things that he just wears over. So I mean, it's not even modified
No,
to be armor.
just
It is
over
just one of
him,
those
and
that's
then
just
like
over him.
a regular bucket over his head, with
Yes.
like a
Yes.
strip torn out, so it's all like rough and jagged, maybe, and you don't see
Or
his
you could go
face.
classic Digimon character design style. You get it, the bucket just over his eyes,
Ooh,
so you don't have eyes, but you do have a couple pointy teeth.
just
you
handsome
know,
man face then.
handsome man face, little gristle, just some of the little stubble, um, and yeah. Well, I like a bucket on his head. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. We got some stuff here.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we're cooking.
I'm really digging this. this concept. Oh, he would have hair coming out the back that matches the mop. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
and he would have a big ass ponytail that matches the
Oh,
mop.
yeah, yeah.
He would have a ponytail, definitely.
Maybe the
Wonderful.
bucket's handle is broken, so it looks like two horns.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
It's hard not to be actively sketching these right now.
Right on.
I
All right,
I feel
I'm gonna
like
move on to. Oh, sorry.
I
Yes,
just this really is one of those times where a dumb idea turns into something very conceptually cool.
yes, it kind of really is.
Yeah.
Like because I was also thinking, like, when would they come across a Digimon like this? And I feel like he would serve a purpose to like some kind of. Um, I'm thinking like a nefarious building, like like a skyscraper of where the bad guys are or something, and he's the janitor at that place.
Okay. Let me
So he's just handling all of the maintenance and upkeep of the lair, basically. But he's like a mega level Digimon.
let me pitch this then. Think of like some type of evil social media had like some blue phoenix as the like
Yeah.
commander, but it's abandoned now. And this is that classic trope of you don't have to fight anymore. The war's
Yes. Yes.
over, but
You
he's
can go
still
home,
cleaning
but
the building.
he has to clean. Yes, exactly. That is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you were on this same exact
Oh, good,
wavelength.
good. Yeah.
That was what I was thinking, was like, if there was kind of that eeriness
Hmm.
around, like, there might be other Digimon in the building and stuff, but for the most part, it's kind of a ghost town.
Yeah.
But he's just there doing his job, and you're making a mess, so he has to fuck you up.
I love that idea because like that trope has played out a lot, but it's always
Yeah,
really good. And there's
it
like this
is.
level of empathy you can put, but this changes it because it's the villain, but there's still that empathy because it's like it's over. That villain's gone, but it's not the whole like, oh, we have to fight him because he's defending it. It's like, oh, we have to try to not make a mess because he's cleaning it.
Yeah, he's cleaning.
Yeah.
He's not one of the bad guys because of any motivation towards their goals or or
Yeah.
anything like that. He is doing a job.
Yeah, he's just cleaning and it happens to be an old bad guy building.
Yes.
Oh.
So here's one that I'm a little intrigued by. Um, this one I had in mind for more of like it's a practical Digimon to be on a team of Digimon. Like if you were actually like playing a video game or something like with these Digimon. But this one is Stewpotmon. So
Okay.
he's a Stewpot, and when he's in battle, he doesn't really do much at all. Like he might have a couple moves of just like very like just basically melee attacks. He probably doesn't have much for like you know magic or anything like that. But what he can do is that he collects. I don't know if it's parts of other like opponent Digimon or somehow um, bits of their hair or skin or something. Anything that he puts in his giant stew pot, which is his body, and the whole battle, he's making a stew of all the opponents, and then the other Digimon on his team are able then to sample the stew and take on, attributes of their opponents because they've been tasting the stew made from them.
So, something I really like about Digimon is how it will really show the silliness of how we've named certain digital attributes in real life. Um, like World Wide Web, stuff like that. I can't think if the web was the exact one, but they'll do that. They'll show like how the literal translation is funny. So I'm thinking Stu that this Digimon collects the other parts of Digimon in the form of cookies, and it's a cookie stew. Like something that sounds
Oh,
repulsive, but he's like cooking,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like cookies and wet slop.
yeah. But
But
he's
it's
taking their cookies.
yeah, but it's like website cash cookies. So it's like
Hmm.
maybe money and cookies, and that's how
Yeah.
In the game, you don't model every part of the Digimon he has in there. They just get emulsified into cookies and cash.
Yes.
And he feeds that to the Digimon, and they get like some type of power up from that.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Like now, since you tasted some of that cookie stew, now you're, more. What's the word I'm looking for? Basically, you can defend. You're more built from like poison attacks or something because
Yeah.
you took from that, from that poison Digimon or anything like that. That could be neat. As far as a design, what do you think would make this pop?
Um, I think it would. The idea I have is mostly just this big pot and like giant wooden spoon, and then you almost never actually see the Digimon. Like it's just kind of like peeking over the side of it. Maybe it's a shadow that's peeking out and just a little hand grabbing the spoon. So like just
Oh, so you're thinking there's a Digimon that is Stewpotmon that is not the literal Stewpot.
yeah.
The Digimon is just the chef of the Stewpot.
Yes, but you don't see it. Like it's like it's there, but you don't see it
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like a little arm that'll come up and fling the stew out or something. And so that's why it's just named
Yeah,
Stew Potmon.
I think it'd be perfect if it was just a very goofy but subtle because of how quick it would happen. You see just like a little chef's hat pop up from the back occasionally. Just
Yeah.
like just the existence of a chef is there and then it's gone
I,
because
I
he's busy.
I think this could play off the idea of like if you never see it, you never get the cash, you never get the cookies. Like you don't, you know how like you get those from visiting a website, you see a
Yeah.
website, you don't see this little guy, so you don't get his. So his are like safe.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that. That's cool.
did you have
Any
a
other
different
thoughts on?
idea for like visually?
No, I was pretty much thinking the same thing, but pretty much just an anthropomorphic stew pot.
Yeah, maybe Muppet
But
style.
yeah, something like that. But I like the little guy more. I think that's a more fun way to do it because then it's just like this strange giant stew pot that's on the battlefield for no reason.
Yeah,
you know, but he's busy. And I'm sure there could be some kind of narrative reason that there would be a stew pot mon.
yeah, yeah.
Next up, we have Yachtmon. Yachtmon, I
Oh,
pictured
Yachtmon. Okay,
yacht. Yeah, so like a boat yacht.
okay.
Um, I don't have very much idea for this one beyond. I think it's fun when Digimon plays with villains that are really arrogant, and like silly, like they're the buffoons because they're arrogant, like Edamon.
Yeah,
But if Yachtmon is some kind of like old money waspy snob who's on a yacht.
yeah. Oh wait, on a
or
yacht or is a yacht? There's
or that's the thing. I'm open to interpretation here, but it might also be fun if he just embodies every aspect of yacht culture and you never actually see his yacht. He just maybe holds the the wheel or whatever they call it on a boat. Probably still a wheel. I don't know. It's doing that. What's happening?
I was unfocused. I was blurry.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, maybe it's just some
Um,
type of liquor worry. Can never say.
um,
Anyways, but yeah, I do like this. Like, does he own a yacht? Kind of.
exactly, because it might be revealed at some point he doesn't even own a yacht. He just has the hat. He's maybe some kind of, oh, that could be one way to do it is if he's like kind of what if he's Ogremon with a yacht hat? Like he's a relative of Ogremon.
Yes.
So he's that same kind of like grotesque, over the top, just like monster looking, but you put that in a yacht outfit with like, the sweater over the shoulders,
Yes. Yes.
and then a captain's hat, and he's just trying his best to fool everyone into thinking he has a yacht, and everyone knows he doesn't have a yacht.
I like to
Absolutely
think.
everyone.
he has also taken other like high-end ship owner paraphernalia, like navy badges kind of thing, and like so like the
Yes.
sweater crosses over but one of the arms has like medals of honor. um
Mhm.
this idea of that he's just like the
Stolen
epitome.
valor.
Yeah, the epitome of any boat ownership,
Yes. Yes. I love this. And maybe he's like trying to. Oh, I was thinking maybe like turn over a new leaf, like try to be like, you know, like if he's disgusted by other Ogremon, and he wants to be above that.
Yeah.
He's better than that, and in doing that, he ends up becoming a villain in a different way. He's still a villain because he's trying to fuel this preposterous lifestyle that has no real merit. Yeah, I also think he should be renamed Ogre hyphenate Yachtmon.
Yeah.
So he's Ogre Yachtmon.
So, what if eventually they stumble upon a Digimon that is a yacht? How would this, play out with Ogre Yachtmon, who in fact doesn't own a yacht but portrays himself as doing it, then seeing a actual yacht personified Digimon?
Yes, and this would happen because, and what would happen when this happens is he would be revealed as a fraud because he wouldn't recognize it as a yacht.
Oh my God.
He would be like, "What the hell is that? That thing's floating on water!" Like he's just the very concept of a boat.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what a boat is. He's only familiar with yacht culture, like things that he's kind of seen around,
like a pool.
Like a pool, exactly. He knows fancy drinks. He knows lawn chairs. Yeah, like just different aspects of that without actually ever setting foot on a yacht.
Oh, I love that. I love that he just like beyond just not what a yacht is, doesn't understand the concept of a boat.
No, yeah, doesn't even know what a boat is. He has to be so landlocked for this joke to really work. Like he's nowhere near a body of water. Like he's in the desert even.
Well, that's normal
like
climate for Ogremon.
Well, I think an Ogremon, when we're first introduced to him, is kind of in the forest by the seaside.
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking of Digimon World 1.
Just straight up in the, yeah. Like, well, yeah, no. You're talking about the game? In Digimon
in the
World?
game, you come across Ogremon
in the
at
desert.
That desert area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where when you go into the caves, where the Molemon and all that. God, speaking of that, I hit up my older brother Travis to find his copy of Digimon World so I can play it again because I haven't played it in years.
Okay.
Well, almost true. I bought it at the beginning of the pandemic, and I loved it. I played it up until you get to the second island, and that's where the game froze. Like it was a bad game. I bought it used.
So, if you own a game, you can legally emulate it. So, since you have a copy, you can download it and emulate it, and then we can stream you playing it if you want.
We could figure something out like that, maybe. I don't own that one anymore, but we can. If I get a hold of my brother's copy, then we can definitely look into that.
Water.
That is my jam. I would absolutely do that. That'd be fun. I have two more.
Okay.
And we're doing perfect on time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as much as we will possibly riff on these next two, we're gonna be perfect. These are both courtesy of Jacqueline, who is going to be on Sketchy Friends with us to help flesh out some of these ideas.
Yep. And just to throw it out early on, that is going to be Monday 22nd.
Monday the 22nd. You got it.
We'll say it again. Don't worry.
So watch out for that, folks. It's going to be a good one. But these are both of her ideas for Digimon. She didn't have a lot of ideas around them, so it's really up to us to really flesh them out. The first one is Too Many Teeth Mon.
Okay.
Got,
This is
got too many
the
teeth.
titular villain, Sweaty Dentistmon, right?
I suppose so. Yes. How would you? Because I mean, I know that it's got to have too many teeth, but
Yes.
do we want to see it like monster type? Like, should it be monstrous or should it be like friendly with too many teeth? Like, there are options here.
So, I believe the etymology of tooth is related to lion in some way, or teeth, I think. I'll have to look this up. But there is some type of relation, I believe. And on that note, uh, back to the good old Christian Bible with Digimon designs. I say biblically accurate angel with teeth and lion, like a type of not cutesy baby cherub, or maybe that's a form, but like the actual concept of a cherub, of a human, a lion, an eagle, and an ox, but really focused on teeth.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm thinking.
I'll up the ante one more level here. All of that, except rather than mixing with those animals like a lion or something, what if it's just a crocodile? But a crocodile biblical angel?
Biblical
Because it's the
angel
whole thing with
crocodile.
like, yeah, with a crocodile smile, just so many teeth. Like that's just like a cartoonish thing about alligators and crocs, or like how many teeth they have. That might
Okay.
be neat to play with, like a crocodile sort of face or mouth that you can fit rows and rows of wild teeth.
What if we
But
do?
he's an angel.
What if we do something of like the polarity of crocodile smile and crocodile tears? Like
Yeah,
the crying and smiling. Um, Maybe like some type of biblical angel of like the idea of like a scale or something, but showing this like crocodile that is like weeping, but also this huge grin.
yeah,
And like yeah, just polar opposites into the same design, held together by the crocodile concept.
definitely. We got a winner with that one.
Yeah.
Last one, we have Upset Stomach Mon.
Well, that's me before
And
this show.
oh yeah. Well, I wonder if you have the same catchphrase as Upset Stomach Mon, because Jacqueline said that Upset Stomach Mon's catchphrase is "Ugh."
Love that.
Yeah. So, what do you think we can do with that one?
So, a popular like design trope I'll see, not popular, but like a cool design trope I see from time to time is character with a mouth for a stomach.
Yes, big fan of it.
Um,
I've drawn it many times.
yes. A big example right now is VTuber Giwi. She's like a demon worm, and she's got that, but otherwise looks like a hot woman. I like the idea of that, except it's a sad mouth. Like that's not been done. They're usually like big gnarly teeth. Nope, this one's just.
She's upset. Yeah.
Yes. And then we have to extend what was it on, and I feel like maybe it has to be like this nurse caretaker that is always trying to like help this tummy, even though it is part of
Oh,
it, but the tummy is like separate in the sense that it expresses anguish and sadness separately from this like concerned nurse.
it could be just as simple as like she always has like a bottle of like soda water,
I like the
just
idea of a
or like
big baby bottle because like have you seen the nurse trope of like a nurse in a giant syringe?
yes.
This would be a nurse with a giant baby bottle and like maybe a binky staff, and that's like the weapon. um
Do you think that reads as much for an upset stomach? Well, I guess no matter what, the stomach is upset,
yeah, it's
so it's
always
going to be
upset.
soothed. It's going to be soothed by a bottle,
Yeah,
I
well,
guess.
I think the idea is that she's always trying to, but it doesn't actually latch onto the ball. It doesn't actually like care about the binky. It's always rejecting these things.
Mm, I like
um
it.
And I think it'd have to be very large, and like the focus still really on that stomach and not this nurse. That's just like the meat train to get this idea into the digi space.
Yes, I like that. I
Yeah,
like it. Let me jot down those notes real quick. So I'm just I think we'll remember it if I write nurse.
yeah. Subverted or less important nurse.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I think this was a very productive episode.
I think so. I'm very excited for
yeah.
Monday the 22nd at 5 p.m. here on Stab Comedy Theater.
Hell yeah. We always end the show here by exchanging not our favorite Pokemon or Digimon, but simply a Pokemon or Digimon that we like. Milk, what's a Digimon that you like?
So I like Bearmon. Bearmon is a bear covered in belts around his hands, and he's got a little baseball cap. Um, and I like him because he seems so different from Digimon's typical designs of that time. He was kind of introduced as one of the like new Digimon you get on Digimon World 3. Digimon World 3 had 3 new Digimon
Yep.
in 3 sets of 3.
He was the karate one. He did
Uh,
karate, right? Didn't he?
I thought it was more of a baseball bat because there was a
He
monkey
had a
with this.
baseball cap, didn't
Yeah.
he? Didn't he have the backwards cap?
I guess he
thought
was
also
karate.
did karate.
I karate, yeah. I mean, if you're going to hit something with a not fist, I guess that is karate, right? Because he didn't ball his hands up, and he did use his arms.
Because I played that game a very little bit. I bought the game, and then I think I lost it at some point. And I didn't get very far in it, but I was enjoying it. And I just remembered that his description, I think, was something about how he thinks that the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah.
For some reason, that stuck with me. I don't know why that stuck with me, but I should go back and play that game.
It's one of the best, I'd say.
It was a cool one. I think I was also just turned off from it as a kid because it was a departure from the Digimon that I loved, which is you and a Digimon, which we went over, in I think maybe even just the last episode with like just that difference of the dynamic. But I also think that the story was pretty cool from what little I remember of it, because you basically get trapped in the virtual game, right?
Yeah. You get trapped in the game, a typical isekai, as they call it, from my understanding. But it was a lot. There was so many like different story elements for a kid to try to latch onto, I feel.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I remember about watching my brother play Digimon World, is that there was one night in particular that he was really on a roll, and I feel like the game ended like 3 times. It had so many like fake out endings where it's just like and it was so cinematic where you truly felt like you were getting closure, and then nope, this happens, you're still at it. I love that in the game. I really, really do.
I'm
gonna try something with my contribution to a Pokemon that I like.
Okay.
What I'm gonna try to start doing with these is because here's the thing. I was almost embarrassed that I just keep thinking of like, original 151, and I don't want to be that guy.
Snubble was second gen, but yeah,
I realize that. But even then, it's like it was very early. What I'm going to start doing is say a description of one that I've kind of seen, or if I know the name of it, I'll say the name, and then I just want you to kind of tell me something about him.
Okay.
Because I want to expand a little. So this time around, I don't recall the name of this one, but he's a very popular one. I'm pretty sure this is not a deep cut by any means, but it is one of the newer ones. He is the one that I think he's. Oh, he's no, actually no. I think I do know his name. Is it Owlette? Is he the owl who has the bow tie?
Yep, Owlette, the first stage grass starter from 7th generation.
Okay, there we go. I like that little guy. He's great.
He is great. So his deal is he is the starter for Gen 7, which is based off Hawaii in Alola. He evolves into Decidueye, which is kind of interesting because Rowlet is grass flying and evolves into Decidueye. Decidueye is grass ghost. It's a bird without the flying type.
Huh.
And you think, well, why is it ghost type? Because it's
Yeah.
not dead by any means. It does have like a hood, which is a little shaded over, but it can like pull its hood off and stuff.
Oh,
Um,
I've seen this one. Okay, yeah.
Yes, and it's very
Yeah.
cool. It has the like owl wings, but it shoots grass or like leaf arrows with its wings.
That's cool.
Really makes good of the like anthropomorphized bird wing style, which is a hard thing to pull off, I would say. It's hard to make a bird wing look like a cool hand or arm,
Yeah. Without
but
just being like Don Bluth,
yeah,
animation,
yeah.
Yeah.
So Decidueye is based off the stilt owl, and a stilt owl is extinct, and there are species from that area that is now extinct, and
Wow.
so you can really tell by the long legs that this has that has kind of a bell bottom appearance. But yeah, so Decidueye, badass, grass ghost, a starter type being a ghost was pretty like whoa. But then they took it a step further. They made the game Pokemon Legends Arceus, which takes place 200 years in the past, 100 years, something like that. And in this period, you get three starter Pokemon that are all from different generations. And the grass one was Rowlet. And Rowlet, or all three of them have a different evolution at the end. And Rowlet's is Decidueye's, is a different form of Decidueye that is grass fighting. Because the idea is at this time period, it's not extinct. But also, it's different because the magic of Mount Hisui
Yeah.
is different, you know. Some bullshit, but yeah. So they made this like grass fighting one that has the like Japanese kind of like head that's made out of like autumn leaves. It's like a different color palette. It's like brown and red, and it's really cool. So yeah, my favorite starter from that generation, and just a cool little gentleman that becomes a badass Robin Hood, which is kind of funny because it's like the bow tie, once you think like distinguished, and then its second stage is kind of like got the hair tuft that it moves and the bow tie still, which you're like, oh, rich snobby kid, and then Robin Hood. So
Love
really
it.
cool like subversion of where you thought it was going.
Love it. Well, thank you for indulging. And this show was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This was a good one. I hope you tune in next time for I don't know what we'll decide to do next time, but we'll figure that out in the next week or so.
Oh, I have an
Um,
idea. Should I pitch it
oh,
now?
pitch it right now.
Okay, so we've been talking about a mysterious force this whole episode, and that is Jacqueline. And Jacqueline doesn't seem
Yeah,
like a big Digimon fan,
she is not.
but she is a big Cory Behringer fan.
I think that's safe to say.
So I've always wondered how my significant others have felt about my non-stop fandom of Pokemon and talking about it, especially in cycle of new stuff. So I'd like to see what a non-fan thinks about all the like fandom and excitement that we have from an outside perspective. Maybe that could be interesting. And then she can show off the drawings she did from Sketchy Friends in between here and then.
Yeah, I think that there's a possibility that might work. There's also a possibility that we will just come to the conclusion that she just doesn't give a shit. Like
That
I
could
think
be
that's
interesting though.
you know, it's, like I have so many like hyper focused interests that she accepts and does not need to participate in. Like she's like, that's your thing, go for it. It's that's great. But I mean, even just earlier tonight when we were talking about just Digimon names and stuff. At one point, she said, "Well, is there like is there just a Digimon that's just like a full size tank?" And I was like, "Yeah, there is. It's called Tankmon."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Shut up, stop it! Like
And
this
he's
is
really
stupid."
cool.
He's really cool, and it is exactly what I did. I just googled it. And I was like, "He's actually pretty awesome." And I showed her. He's like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." But yeah, it's Digimon's pretty dumb. So I I feel that I'm careful as to when I really bring that into our sphere.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll see if she's down for it. She also loves making fun of me, so I'm sure we'd have a good time with that too. So
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll cast you later.
Cast you on the flip digi side.
One day we'll get it. Bye.
Yeah.